It was a chilly November evening in 2022, and I was home alone in my small apartment in suburban Denver, just scrolling through Snapchat as usual. I had been obsessed with maintaining streaks for months, constantly sending snaps back and forth with my friends. It felt harmless enough, a way to stay connected without much effort. That night, as I was mindlessly opening snaps, I received a notification from an account I'd never seen before. The username was random, just letters and numbers jumbled together, and the avatar was the default Snapchat ghost. Curiosity got the better of me, so I tapped on the snap. It was a blurry photo of my apartment building taken from across the street. My heart instantly skipped a beat, anxiety tightening my chest. Who would send this? Was it just a prank from a friend trying to scare me? I quickly replied, asking who it was, half expecting to receive a laughing emoji or some teasing response. But minutes passed with no reply. Feeling uneasy, I checked outside through my window, scanning the street nervously. It was dark, quiet, and seemingly deserted. I shook my head, reassuring myself it was probably some kid trying to mess around. A few minutes later, another notification popped up. This snap was a video lasting exactly 5 seconds. When I opened it, my breath caught sharply in my throat. The video showed someone standing in the hallway just outside my apartment door, filming silently. I could clearly see my apartment number on the door. Fear surged through my veins, and I immediately jumped up, running quietly to double-check that my door was securely locked. It was, but that provided little comfort. My mind raced with questions. Who could be doing this and why? I considered calling the police, but the snaps had already disappeared, leaving no evidence behind. As panic rose, another notification flashed on my phone screen. Hands shaking, I opened it. Another photo, this time of my front door handle, taken mere inches away. My heart thundered painfully in my chest. Whoever it was, they were right outside my door, mocking me, knowing I was terrified. Without thinking clearly, I quickly sent back a snap of my locked door, hoping to show them I knew they were there and wasn't intimidated. Instantly, another video arrived. Reluctantly, I opened it, dreading what I'd see. The footage revealed a slow, deliberate movement of the doorknob, gently twisting back and forth as though testing the lock. I felt utterly trapped, panic overtaking rational thought. Before I could even react, yet another snap came through, this one of my hallway, but completely empty. I hesitated, confusion mixing with fear. How had they moved away so fast? Could they still be nearby? Seconds later, another snap followed. It was my bedroom door from inside my own apartment, my vision blurred momentarily, breath ragged and rapid, the world spinning. They were inside. Somehow, impossibly, they'd managed to enter silently. I backed against the wall, feeling utterly vulnerable. My fingers dialed 911, whispering frantically for help. While waiting for the police, every sound seemed magnified, every shadow a potential threat. Another notification chimed. Terrified but compelled, I checked again. This one was a photo of me, standing right where I was, back pressed against the wall, eyes wide with terror. The angle was from directly above, as if someone was hanging silently from the ceiling. I instinctively looked upward, panic flooding through me, but saw nothing. Just an empty ceiling. I was on the verge of screaming when police lights flashed through my window. Relief washed through me as officers knocked urgently at the door. After cautiously letting them in, they conducted a thorough search but found no signs of forced entry, no trace of anyone hiding. The officers were sympathetic but clearly skeptical, assuming it was some cruel prank. Still, my mind raced. How had someone gotten those images, especially the last one taken inside my apartment from above? Sleep didn't come that night, and for days afterward, paranoia consumed me. I deleted Snapchat entirely, changed my locks, even installed cameras, but the anxiety lingered. Weeks later, I decided to finally move out, desperate for a fresh start somewhere else. On the night before leaving, my phone buzzed softly on the bedside table. Fear gripped me instantly, my fingers trembling as I checked it. Another Snapchat notification. Impossible, considering I'd deleted my account, yet somehow it was there, same random username, same ghostly avatar. Opening it slowly, I saw a single photo, my new address, written clearly on a piece of paper held by a pale, ghostly hand. Panic engulfed me, realizing whatever nightmare had begun that night was far from over. To this day, I never discovered who was behind the terrifying snaps or how they found me. But even now, months later, every unexpected notification sends a chill down my spine, reminding me that in our digital age, safety might just be an illusion, and someone or something might always be watching from the shadows. It was a quiet Sunday night in mid-April of 2022, and I was alone in my small house in suburban Maryland, just killing time on Snapchat, playing around with filters. I had always loved messing around with the funny faces and strange effects. It was my way to unwind after a stressful day at work. But on this particular evening, boredom got the better of me, and I decided to try out some of the newer, creepier filters people were talking about online. I scrolled through, laughing at distorted faces and quirky animations until I stumbled upon one called Ghost Finder. The filter description claimed it could detect ghosts or entities around you, showing them in the background of your snaps. Of course, I thought it was ridiculous, a silly gimmick made to scare gullible teens. But curiosity still got the best of me. Amused and somewhat skeptical, I activated it, pointing my phone around my dimly lit living room. Initially, nothing seemed unusual. My furniture, TV, and plants appeared normally, the filter adding only a slight grainy effect. But as I moved my camera slowly toward the hallway leading to my bedroom, a faint, shadowy shape appeared, barely visible at first, yet distinctly human-shaped. I felt an odd chill, but immediately laughed it off, assuming the app had placed the shape randomly. Intrigued and a little amused, I walked closer to the hallway, watching as the ghostly figure became clearer, sharper. I began to feel slightly uneasy, my heart rate quickening. Still, I told myself it was just the app playing tricks. But then something unsettling happened. The shadowy figure shifted suddenly, moving from a standing position to crouching low, as if hiding or preparing to move. My stomach tightened and my smile faded. Snapchat filters weren't supposed to move like that, not so realistically. Feeling anxious, I quickly turned off the filter, shaking my head at my own nerves, but curiosity compelled me to activate it again, this time pointing toward the kitchen. There it was again. The same shadowy figure, now standing right beside my refrigerator, clear and undeniable, its head slightly tilted, watching me. Panic tightened my chest. Rationally, I knew it was just an app filter, probably glitching or deliberately designed to scare people. Still, the feeling of being watched refused to fade. Taking a deep breath, I quickly snapped a photo, hoping to capture evidence of the strange glitch, but when I opened the saved image, my blood ran cold. There was no shadowy figure. Instead, the photo showed my kitchen entirely normal, nothing out of place. Confused and deeply unsettled, I glanced back at the live filter. The figure was still there. Closer now, standing just inside the kitchen doorway, head still tilted slightly. My pulse hammered painfully in my ears. I wanted desperately to dismiss this as a glitch or prank, but the realism, the sheer eerie presence of the shadow made that impossible. Against my better judgment, I moved slowly toward the figure, phone trembling in my grip. As I approached, the figure slowly raised its arm, pointing toward my bedroom. Fear surged violently within me, yet a part of me still hoped this was just a digital trick. Following the figure's gesture, I cautiously turned toward the bedroom, keeping the filter active. Inside the room, the shadow stood directly beside my bed, silently watching me. I froze, heart racing violently. How had it moved instantly? Panic overtook rational thought. I dropped the phone onto the bed and turned on every light in the house, desperate for comfort and normalcy. For a few moments, nothing happened. Then my phone buzzed loudly, vibrating against the mattress. Fearfully, I grabbed it. Snapchat had opened on its own, the Ghost Finder filter active, now capturing the bed clearly. This time the figure wasn't standing, it was lying stretched out across my bed, staring directly at the camera. Without thinking, I quickly deleted Snapchat altogether, shutting off my phone entirely. I paced the living room, feeling trapped, terrified to sleep in my own bed. After hours passed without incident, exhaustion eventually forced me back into the bedroom. I convinced myself it had all been some bizarre glitch and my tired mind had exaggerated things. I fell asleep uneasily but woke abruptly at 3 a.m. to a chilling sensation. My bed shifting slightly as though someone had just laid down beside me. Frozen in fear, unable to move, I felt the mattress sink further and a cold, breathy whisper drifted softly into my ear. "You found me." The shock was immediate and paralyzing, heart nearly exploding from terror. Summoning every ounce of courage, I jumped out of bed, switched on the lights and found the room empty, but the blankets were disturbed, indented exactly where the figure had appeared on the Snapchat filter. Days later, desperate for answers, I researched online. I discovered disturbing stories from others who had tried similar ghost filters and experienced terrifying encounters. Each account was eerily similar. A shadowy figure appearing closer each time, eventually manifesting physically. None had explanations, and none had forgotten the chilling presence they'd accidentally invited into their lives. Months have passed since then, and I've never reinstalled Snapchat or any similar app. Yet sometimes late at night, I still wake abruptly, feeling that chilling presence nearby, silently waiting. And despite my attempts to rationalize it away, I'm haunted by the memory of that whispered voice and terrified that whatever I found through a harmless Snapchat filter never truly left. It was a humid summer night in July of 2022, and I was up later than usual in my college apartment just outside of Tallahassee, Florida. My roommate had gone home for the weekend, leaving me alone with the kind of quiet that feels heavier than it should. Around 2 a.m. I was lying in bed, mindlessly flipping through Snapchat stories, replying to random snaps and watching people document their nights out. Most of my friends had gone silent hours ago, but one new notification popped up from a name I didn't recognize. The username was odd. Just 3 lowercase letters and 5 numbers. No Bitmoji, no profile pic. It simply read, "Sent you a snap." I opened it without thinking. The snap was just a black screen with a single word in white text. "Hi." I rolled my eyes, assuming it was someone from campus trying to mess around. I didn't respond. 30 seconds later, another snap arrived. This time it was a photo of my apartment building, taken from the street below. The timestamp said 2:17 a.m. My heart skipped. I immediately got up and went to the window, pulling back the blinds slowly. The street was mostly empty, the glow from a nearby street lamp casting dull yellow light on the sidewalk. Nothing looked out of place. I convinced myself it was a coincidence, maybe someone who lived in the same complex, maybe a friend playing a prank. But then another snap came through. This one was darker, blurrier, a photo taken from the stairwell just outside my door. I could see my welcome mat, my front door, the number 302 cropped at the top of the frame. I froze completely, phone shaking in my hand. I didn't even hear anyone approach. No knock, no footsteps, just the image. I locked the deadbolt again, even though it was already secure, and backed away from the door, now regretting every second I'd spent scrolling in bed instead of sleeping. A minute later, another snap. A video this time. 5 seconds. It started in the stairwell, same spot as before, but slowly moved toward my door before cutting off, just as the camera reached the doorknob. My stomach twisted. I quickly typed a reply, asking who it was and what they wanted. The snap was opened immediately, no reply. 10 seconds passed. Then came another message. Not a snap, just a chat notification. "You left your window unlocked." I turned around so fast I nearly dropped my phone. The window in my bedroom was closed, but I hadn't actually locked it. I ran over, shoved the latch into place and pulled the curtain tight. My entire body was trembling now. I called campus police and explained what had happened. They said they'd send someone to check the complex, but warned it could take a while since they were short-staffed. In the meantime, they told me to stay inside, keep the doors and windows locked, and call 911 if anything else happened. I sat on the edge of my bed, lights on, trying to convince myself I was safe. 10 minutes passed with no new snaps, then 20. I started to feel stupid, like I'd overreacted, but just as I started to relax, another snap came through. I hesitated before opening it. This one was different, an image taken from inside my apartment. My kitchen. The photo was angled low, like someone crouching, and I could see the reflection of my bedroom light from the hallway. The timestamp again said 2:17 a.m. My heart stopped. I had just checked the time. It was 2:46 a.m. The image was new, but the timestamp hadn't changed. Like whoever was sending these was trying to show me everything was happening at the same exact moment. I ran to the kitchen, flicked on every light, grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a cast iron pan, and searched every cabinet and closet. Nothing. Nobody. The back window was still locked. No signs of forced entry. And yet the image was real. It was here. I ran back to my room and called 911 this time. The dispatcher took it seriously and stayed on the phone with me while I waited for officers to arrive. When they showed up, they swept the apartment again and confirmed what I already knew, no signs of anyone inside. They stayed for about 15 minutes, even pulled the security footage from the building's main entrance. And here's the part I still can't explain. No one had entered or exited since 10:43 p.m. They told me it was probably a sick prank. Maybe someone had taken those pictures earlier and timed the messages to mess with me. But I knew better. I knew I hadn't left my door unlocked that night, or the window either. I knew I'd never seen those images before, and the final thing that proves it wasn't just a prank? After the cops left, I scrolled through my saved snaps just to try and calm myself. That's when I saw it. My story, which I hadn't updated all day, had a new post, uploaded at 2:17 a.m. It was a short video, 10 seconds. It showed me asleep in bed, camera angle from directly above, my chest rising and falling slowly. I never took it, I never posted it, and I never heard or felt anyone come into the room. There was no username attached, no trace of the sender anymore. The chat history had vanished. I haven't used Snapchat since. I deleted the app, changed my number, even moved apartments a month later. But sometimes I still get that creeping feeling like someone is watching, waiting, and every so often, just past 2:17 a.m., I'll hear the faintest buzz from my phone. No notification, no screen light, just the hum, like a reminder that they were never after attention. They were just letting me know I was never alone. If these Snapchat horror stories gave you chills, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because sometimes the scariest things aren't what you see. They're what's watching you back.